Think you crazy, say you hate me. Stop play crazy like why you hate me. You pray for better, is what you asking for. I give you better than what you asking for. Tired of the arguing, all the hollering in the back.
Alrighty, hey.
Crazy thing about
welcome to Barbershop.talk. Now this is the podcast
say you hate me.
where our topics are determined by the conversation in the barbershop. That's right. Now I'm not in the studio alone. I'm here with my co-host, and that is KC.
Thank you, J-Rod. It is a pleasure to co-host Barbershop.talk podcast here in Out the Way Studio. But like J-Rod said, it comes up on Saturday, it goes down on this podcast. Trump voters are scared to admit the truth for fear of being ostracized by the masses. They are losing jobs, money, and benefits, privately regretting they voted for this shit. The U.S. is being destroyed from within by a Russian spy with foreign schemes. Let this pain open your mind and heart. End racist politics. Let's have a fresh start.
They don't love you like they say they do. Nah. Shit.
All right, Casey. Okay. I had to laugh at that. I had to laugh on that with what you just said. But it is one thing I did forget. It's one thing I do want our listeners to know that we do our shows live, and we're not afraid to show our human side, if you will. So we'd like for you to join in with our errors and bloopers. Now, another thing I forgot to say, Casey, I forgot to say that we're in Out the Way Studio here in Indianapolis. Now, you know why that's important for me to say, Casey?
Why is that, J-Rod?
Because we have a sponsor, the owner of this studio. If we don't say that, he might kick us out.
Yeah, I read it gonna go up.
We can't afford that, Casey.
No, we can barely afford what we're paying now.
You are absolutely right. Now, before we get in our shows, I like to remind our listeners that please support the Murph Family Reunion fundraiser. They're having a skating party, and it is at Skateland, which is at 3902.
Yeah. Glen Arm Road.
That's right, and that's in Indianapolis. That's on the west side of Indianapolis.
Yeah, near 38th and High School Road.
That's right. So come one and come all and show up and show out. We're planning on having a great time. All right, now we got that out the way, Casey.
Mm-hmm.
Now that should make them very, very happy. But it's one thing I want to do now: start our show.
Yeah.
Now, one of our shows. Now it is a client that sent this in to us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about sometimes. Things is not what it seems.
Yeah, not what they appear.
Not what they appear at all.
Don't judge that book by its cover.
That is not a good idea. Not at all.
Can I? Take your order.
Yeah. I had an American breakfast, pancakes, and the turkey bacon.
How would you like your egg?
Anyway, scrambled. Anyway.
You want orange juice?
Just whatever you would have, if it comes with it.
No problem. And what can I get for you, sir?
I'm gonna have the exact same thing.
Okay. Sir, what would you like?
Same thing.
You guys are copycats. What can I get for you?
I'm gonna get.
Let me guess. The same thing.
Yeah, you guessed it.
Well,
Oh, close.
Okay, now wait just a second. I don't like to laugh when people have some kind of
disability or issue.
But that was funny.
Well, now I actually experienced something similar to that, J-Rock.
Oh, tell us about it, Casey.
So you remember? Well, maybe you don't remember. But there was this the TV series called Sweetie Pie.
I do.
And it was this restaurant that was owned by a former background singer for Ike Tina Turner.
Okay.
And they were located in St. Louis.
St. Louis it is.
And so I went there, to experience the food,
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't the waitress, but it was the cashier. And at Sweetie Pies, everything is a la carte. So when you get up to the cashier, she names everything you're getting. She rings it up.
All right.
And she had a very similar issue as that lady.
Well, let me tell you something about that, Casey.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it was breakfast.
Yeah.
By the time she got through all those orders, it probably was lunchtime.
Can I change my order? And everybody like, no, man, don't do that.
She took forever. I was like, they were trying to be very polite. I had the same thing. Don't say anything, just write it down. I'll be a
So I got a suggestion, J-Rock.
All right, I'm listening, Casey.
You ever at a restaurant and you experience something like that?
All right.
Just write down the order and hand it to her. Believe me, it's going to be much smoother, much faster.
Well, that may be. Plus, I think people need to be honest with other folks, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe that's not the role for her in the restaurant, and they was afraid to tell her.
Yeah, how'd that go in the interview process?
Yeah, that's what I like to do. No, he's going to say, so I didn't really cut you off.
No, you good.
Now, here's some things, because this one thing this guy did send into us and say somebody should have been honest with this lady. Mm-hmm. Because I tell you, Casey, everybody can't wear everything.
Oh, no doubt.
It got to change.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this lady right here, somebody should have told her.
No.
Somebody should have told her something, Casey. Check this out.
I show you all these shorts that I got from the TikTok shop. These are size 2X. They're very roomy. They're pretty color. Oh, in the back.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm looking like him. I'm like, no. Somebody should have told her. First of all, she said it was 2X. Maybe she should have had 10X.
Yeah, she don't need to wear anything that's like spandex type. Shorts, anything along that line. No.
That is terrible. In fact, she said she bought it from the TikTok shop. Maybe she need to. I hope she kept a receipt. She needs to return that.
She can't blame TikTok for this, J-Rock.
No, I think you misjudged her side. I normally wear 2X. Baby, that was a 10X.
I don't think it's just a size issue. It's a style issue. Every styling is like, you remember the Kid and Play haircut, right?
Yeah.
And it was kind of in style for a while. It was cool. Didn't look right on me. For whatever reason, it just didn't look right on me. Any kind of spandex material ain't gonna look right on her.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I think we should start early with our children.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this guy right here. What the hell?
Oh my God.
An African American has a Confederate flag on his T-shirt.
Yeah, God, man.
What is wrong with this dude?
Oh, somebody should have told me.
Somebody should have told him. It was picture day. Now, why would somebody? Now he probably woke up in the morning going, "Can I wear my favorite shirt?" And the parents said, "Okay."
No, the parents said, "What the hell is this shirt doing in our house?"
Now, I'll tell you one other thing about this guy, Casey, that I noticed. Is that he must have been bullied because he got a busted lip up there. Look at that lower lip.
Is it a busted lip or is he related to Bubba Gump?
I don't know. But somebody should have told him. Somebody should have told him, Casey. Now, I'm not exception to the rule. Somebody should have told me a couple of things.
Yeah?
Yeah, on my time, one time I thought I was sharp, but somebody should have told me you don't look right. Somebody just simply should have told me I didn't look right.
What was this time, Jay, right?
Well, I was a young fella now. But I want to show you something. What kind of shirt is that?
Whoa, J-Rod, look at you.
Yeah. Now, is that a T? Is that a turtleneck, a mock neck, or a regular shirt?
It's a V-neck and a turtleneck.
A V-neck.
And it looked like he came from Star Wars. No, Star Trek. Star Trek.
All right. That's it. We moving on. Did nobody ask for that comment? We moving on. I just want you to know, I thought I was sharp.
Now, it was short. It just had too many things going on at the same time.
I didn't appreciate the Star Trek comment. Now, I'm going to switch gears on you, KC, because I want to talk about a couple things. I want to talk about parents. I think parents should get their due recognition.
Yeah.
Because they love their children unconditionally.
They do, man. I mean, you've seen where guys have committed mass murders on innocent people. And their mama would be in the courtroom talking about, I still love you, baby.
That's true. But some people, they have this a moment where they realize their parents don't love them anymore. Mm-hmm. And this lady here, she documented a time when she realized that it is a very sad video. And I thought about it. I thought twice or maybe 3 times if we should show this on our podcast. Yeah. Because it's very disturbing. She's a grown woman. Mm-hmm. Here's the picture of her. You can see she looks distraught. She does. And you can tell she's been crying for a while.
Yeah, she's hurt. And I'm reading the caption on here, and I'm leaving the house because my mom said she doesn't effing love me anymore. That's so sad.
That had to be heartbreaking.
Mom, why you do that to your daughter?
It's heartbreaking. I mean, I just looking at her make me reconsider if we want to play this, KC, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. Now we should say, what do we have? Viewer discretion advised. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, viewer discretion is advised.
All right, here we go.
So I'm leaving the house because my mom said that she doesn't fucking love me anymore.
That's what I said.
What'd you say?
I said you're too old for an Easter basket.
That's the same fucking thing.
See, that's the moment when she tell.
Now you know what?
What?
Now my child reacted like that over saying that. I might not love her anymore.
Look, she deserved an Easter basket. She was tore up because she wanted to get an Easter basket and she didn't get it. Mm-hmm. And that's too bad.
It's the same thing.
It is the same thing in her world, KC. You got have a little bit of empathy and sympathy.
Well, I ain't gonna be around on Christmas morning.
Hey, before we forget, is that we did get some comments last week because we're trying to, we believe in educating yourself and we want to help our listeners educate themselves. Yeah. And so what we're doing this thing here, and it's called the word of the day. Yeah. And what we ask you to do is use this word at least 10 times a day before you build in your vocabulary.
Yeah, for about 3 days in a row.
Okay, that'll work. Mm-hmm. All right, so I'll let you go ahead and take the lead on this, KC, and tell the audience what we have here.
Okay. Is bitchuation. A situation that forces you to act like a bitch. Like this.
Yeah.
This. Or this. Bitchuation.
All right, that's the word.
Yeah.
All right, let's do some examples of that, Casey. Because I think right now this is a habituation.
I don't know what this is. But there are situations that are habituation.
That's right. So here on out, again, we're going to challenge our audience, our listeners. Use that. This must be a habituation.
If you're at a restaurant, you're halfway through your meal, and you find some hair in it.
That is a habituation.
Habituation, J-Rod.
If you're standing in line and the person in front of you back up and step on your shoes, that is a habituation. That's right. Hey, if you text your significant other and they don't text you back for a couple hours, well,
somebody creates a lot of habituation there.
Well, maybe I out.
You've been standing in the grocery checkout line for 20 minutes. You're the next one up. And she says, I'm closed now.
Oh, that's a habituation.
That's some free grocery situation here. You don't want to charge me for it, fine, but I didn't give my time.
All right. Now that was kind of cute, and we're gonna stay on cuteness because we're gonna talk about little babies now. And it simply says this: I am so hungry. Now, when you try this with your kids out there, if you have any toddlers or small ones, just tell them I'm so hungry right now I could eat a kid.
Oh, we gotta see these reactions. Right?
I'm so hungry right now I can eat a kid.
Hungry, I can eat a kid. So hungry, I could eat a kid.
Do I look like food?
I'm so hungry, I could eat a kid.
I'm hungry too. I need a mom.
I'm so hungry right now, I can eat a kid.
What is that?
I can eat a kid.
Me?
Yeah.
No.
I'm so hungry right now, I could eat a kid.
Me? Me? Me?
Yeah.
No.
I'm so hungry, I can eat a kid. So which kid can I eat?
You cannot eat my sister, and you cannot eat nobody.
Oh,
You're gonna eat spaghetti. You don't eat nobody.
okay, I'm sorry. I could eat a kid.
You can't eat me.
I'm hungry, I could eat a baby.
What's up with the sassy girl? You can't eat me. You can't eat nobody. You gonna eat spaghetti.
Hey, she's right. And not spaghetti. Spaghetti.
Boy, that is horrible. Now, there is a couple words I couldn't pronounce when I was growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can say them now.
Sure.
I'm proud because I can say coincident.
Who's a what?
Well, no, you say coincident, but it's coincident.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Closer. Yeah.
That's it. That's right. Yeah, I had a little speech therapy when I was in high school,
Okay.
and I used to say spaghetti, but I can say that now. I got to break it down. Spaghetti.
Okay.
See, I'm getting better. I'm getting better.
All right,
There's any
that's
words that
good.
you couldn't. No, I had trouble with.
There was a phrase I couldn't say when I was young.
What phrase is that?
I'm sorry.
That is hilarious.
But as I've gotten older, I still can't say it.
Hey, do you remember back in the day that we used to? This is how we used to communicate. You know, we went for like, yo, what up? You remember that? We used to.
Oh yeah.
You know, everybody knew what that meant.
Yeah. The universal greeting for
That's right.
African American.
Universal great. Now, this guy right here, he has it down pat. You know, he has that nod of the head down pat. Check this out, KC.
Mm-hmm. Let us know. I'm check you out.
Oh, that's shit. Okay, that's it. Why are you always talking about people that are physically challenged on this podcast?
Me?
I thought you was using a super nod that we used to use.
Yeah, he totally deflated her balls. She's like, boy, this guy really into me.
All right. This is what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get our listeners involved on this, KC, because, you know, back in the day in the 80s, they had great commercials.
Yeah.
They don't have commercials like this anymore. They really don't. So I just want our listeners, you tell me if you know what commercial this is from.
Yeah, what product is being represented? But see if you can figure it out before they reveal it.
Yeah, there you go. That's right. All right, here we go. We're going to try this. Some of our favorite 1980 commercials.
Last name is Bartles and Ed's is James.
How's the beef?
I make the donut. I made the donut.
Pardon me.
Well, I got to back up here just for a second. I got to stop this because I used to love Where's the Beef? Where's the beef? But I got to tell you the backstory to this, KC, because somebody who worked for Wendy's happened to be somewhere. They heard this older woman's voice.
Yeah.
And they just couldn't get over it. So they came up with a brainchild of this commercial.
Mm-hmm.
The only issue is the older lady, that old lady that you said, "Where's the beef?"
Yeah.
She was hard of hearing, so she didn't know when to say her line. So they hid somebody under the table, and when they grabbed her leg, she'd say, "Where's the beef?" Now you know the rest of the story.
I don't know if that's ethical ethical etiquette for a commercial, man.
Well, it works. It works. That was a very popular commercial.
It was.
All right, I'm going to continue.
Would you have any Grey Poupon? Our tires, please feel free to bring it back.
This is your brain on drugs.
Because my last name is Bartles.
Now, I can tell you right now, Casey.
And Ed's is James.
The egg thing wouldn't work today. No.
You want to see their brains like that.
Well, they could. But I was thinking, all they're going to do is eat the eggs. They so high.
Got the munchies. Oh, man, glad I got some eggs.
They're going to eat it all.
No. It's too expensive to shoot a commercial with eggs anymore.
That is very true. And I'm going to switch gears because I'll talk about a serious topic, and that is the trade war or the tariff.
Yeah.
And it's going to hit everybody.
Yeah.
I believe it's going to hit me. It's going to hit you. It's going to hit everyone in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we did a lot of FAFO, right?
Mm-hmm.
Screw around and find out.
Yeah.
And I think that some people are going to regret their vote. Now, Indiana, it was a red state.
Big time.
Mm-hmm. So they're not excluded from that.
Right.
Now, let me say some recent news. Matter of fact, she's going to take some recent news about happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she's focusing on Nebraska and Indiana. And they're saying it's your turn now, and you're going to feel a little pain. So let's hear what she has to say.
They don't give a fuck. They meant it. If you haven't heard, China has ended its beef exports from the U.S. Losing those exports is worth $1.6 billion to the U.S. And you want to guess which state exports the most? Nebraska. And they have a $400 million budget short, which means the Nebraskan ranchers are not going to be able to get a subsidy from the state because they're already $400 million short. China took that beef exports right over to Australia. And China didn't stop there. They are also reducing their soybean exports by 9.5% or almost $5 billion. And Indiana is going to feel that pain, seeing that they export $2.6 billion or 60% of their soybean crops to China. And China is going to subsidize that through Brazil. So that means we are losing again. Have you noticed that they are targeting red states? That seems pretty strategic, if you ask me, targeting red states. When China said they don't give a fuck, they meant it.
I gotta say one thing about that, J-Rod.
Okay, I'm listening.
Okay, they did have Nebraska misspelled, man. Nebraska, and it's N-E, Nebraska.
Well, okay, first I appreciate you pointing that out. I think that's good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to look back on her message, right? Especially in Indiana, because she said 60% of the soybean.
Yeah.
Now, just imagine if you're the person who's paying you for say the next month we're gonna pay you 40% of your check. Ooh, that's gonna hurt.
You know what? I'm gonna 100% leave.
But then you're gonna get nothing. Can't say zero.
Yeah, I mean, so they still got the 40% that they use for the White Castle burgers, but now they got all that other 60% they got to figure out what to do with.
Yeah, I think it's bad. I think it's really bad. It's bad for the country. It's bad for the state. It's bad for the individual. I do not agree with the move of having tariffs at all.
No, this was a dumb, it's self-inflicted wound to our economy, and it's going to impact everybody from coast to coast.
That's absolutely right. Now, Donald Trump, of course, he was talking all big and bad. Talking about China ripped us off. He was talking big and bad.
Oh, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. I kid you not.
Let's hear what he had to say.
Think of it, 104%. Now, it sounds ridiculous, but they charged us for many items 100%, 125%. Many countries have. They've ripped us off left and right. But now it's our turn to do the ripping. Right now, Chuck.
First of all, you never trust Donald Trump with any facts, because he just pulls out numbers and stuff and it makes them up just to make his point sound good.
Yeah, what kills me is that he always try to come off as a real tough guy.
Yeah.
And in reality, that dude is a marshmallow.
Yeah.
A serious marshmallow. I kid you not. You know, it's our time to do it. I cannot believe all these people who follow him go, yay! That kills me.
Yeah, he ain't tough. He's fake tough. He's fake businessman. He's fake billionaire. He's fake negotiator. You know, he's as fake as they come.
You're absolutely right. Now, now he's checking. He's softening up, and people are noticing that he is softening up. Now, whiplash, anyone?
President Trump is now dialing down his rhetoric on two issues that had financial markets in a tailspin. First, on the trade war with China, the president is suddenly sounding a lot more flexible to negotiate a deal on tariffs that even his own Treasury Secretary called unsustainable.
145% is very high, and it won't be that high. It'll come down substantially, but it won't be zero.
Then,
whoa, wait just a second. Wait just a second. I thought it was our turn to rip. Come on.
We're gonna rip them. We're implementing this high tariff for a month. And they'll never mess with the U.S. again.
It's soften up. It's all on TV and everything. President Trump says tariff with China will come down substantially. Now wait a minute. That's not ripping them up.
Yeah, he's already done damage to this economy that's going to take a couple of years to reset.
Yeah.
And that's if he makes the right move.
That's right.
I don't trust him to do.
Yeah, and it may take longer than that. But okay, let's hear some more of his softness. He's backing up as usual.
Secretary Dutton suggested that with the tariff rate as high as they are now, that could be an
Not sure. 145% is very high, and it won't be that high. It's not going to be that high. It got up to that. We were talking about fentanyl, where, various elements built it up to 145. No, it won't be anywhere near that high. It'll come down substantially, but it won't be zero. It used to be zero. We were just.
Now, you heard earlier said that he would charge America 125%. Now he said it will be zero. It has been zero. This guy, I'm telling you, Casey, he's killing me.
The only thing that ripped up is the American economy.
What kills me, Casey, this guy, it said, tell the president of China to call me. We better negotiate. Have you heard that, Casey?
Yeah, I have actually. After he raised the tariff level to 145%, he assumed that China was going to come begging to him at that point, right?
Yep.
And China's president, reacted like, forget Trump. Forget the U.S. Let's just move on.
You're absolutely right. Let's talk about this breaking news from China. Let's hear it. Now, remember, this happened after Trump said, have the president of China call me, please.
Yeah.
To Trump, and their response might change everything in this trade war. China has basically just told the U.S. to F off. Apparently, President Trump is waiting for a call back from President Xi to discuss the trade war and negotiate all that kind of stuff, guarding the tariffs on China. And President Xi is refusing to call him back. And representatives from Beijing are basically saying that they are not going to succumb to a bully, which is how they are labeling President Trump's administration. Also going on to say that they've been around for 3,000 years compared to the U.S. is less than 250, that the U.S. only accounts for 2% of their GDP. They're the only economy in the world that can stand toe-to-toe with the U.S., and they will be just fine without us. And in addition to the response of refusing to call President Trump back, they also decided to hike their tariffs against the U.S. to 125% in response to the 145% the U.S. has put on them, making them basically the only country that does not have the 90-day reprieve that President Trump gave the rest of the world. President Trump will not reach out to China first. Then China must reach out to him first. And China's like, no, we're not going to do that anyways. China just ghosted Trump.
I like that, Casey. China said, I didn't start this mess.
Right.
If you want to do something, call me.
Yeah, this is your own creation, and I ain't answering you when you call.
That's right. He's not even gonna pick up the phone. Now, this next video is I'm gonna get some more detailed information, right? Because this is the real deal. All right, breaking news: Trump team reached out to China privately, but China said no can do. No can do.
I'm busy making trade deals with other nations that you put tariffs on. So I get back to you when I get finished making all these business deals.
Yes, I get back to you because I don't need you.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Right.
Breaking news. Orange orangutan administration has cracked. His team literally tried to beg China not to retaliate, and China freaking ghosted him. So here's what happened. CNN dropped a report saying someone from the orange orangutan administration reached out hours before China raised tariff on the U.S. goods to 125%. They told China, don't do it, just wait. And they even said President Xi should call the orange directly. Like, think about that. The orange orangutan talks tough in public, but behind the scenes, they were basically trying to de-escalate, to get ahead of it, and China didn't even respond. This is exactly what I've been telling you guys. No calls, no warning, just drop the hammer. And of course, this morning, U.S. officials and all of us woke up to new tariffs. So yeah, Trump flinched, and China showed they're not playing his game. This is what happens when you try to act strong, but don't have a real leverage. If you're all bark and no bite, eventually people will stop listening. The shit that he does might work in a business world, but it doesn't work in world politics. I'm gonna be live all day today until 4 p.m. on TikTok and Twitch. I'm gonna be playing Marvel Rivals. If you want to talk about this, come join my stream.
Yeah, if you do, join it. I mean, seriously, I want you to join him. But he has some very good points. Because first of all, the whole world now knows that Trump is just more talk than anything.
Right. Well, they didn't know. The U.S. has been slow to catch on.
Yeah.
That was the first go around.
That's a good point, KC. Because it seems like we take a little time to figure out. Now, we are figuring it out now because people are talking about it. People are talking about it now. Because once you said, had the president of China call me right away, and we can negotiate this. Yeah, right.
I'll work out a deal for you, China. Just call me. No tariffs.
China said, we don't need you. And like I said, people are now talking about, listen to this lady, what she has to say.
No plea with the United States. Why they press decline on the president today? Decline on the president today. Come on, Super Little T with Auntie, let's talk about it. So y'all know the trade war is still going between China and the United States, right? So Donald Trump, trying to be the bigger person, y'all, he reached out to have China's president give him a call so they can have a phone conversation. The president of China, he declined, said no thank you. How did he respond? He put 125% tariffs on the United States. That was his response. He don't want to talk. He said he ain't afraid of the United States, so if Donald Trump wants the trade war to continue, bring it on. Baby, what?
That is correct. Bring it on.
Right. And it shows you the decline of the stature of the United States in the world. You know, Donald Trump was always talking about how weak the country was under Biden. People won't even take your phone call.
Yeah, what is that saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you're not the leader of the free world anymore.
Right.
China telling you to screw off.
Yeah, don't bother me, U.S.
And I really think that China right now is winning this trade war.
Oh,
they do not need the United States.
Right.
They don't.
Right.
And they're going to other countries. They're going to other countries to get the product that they used to get from the United States. They tell them to just screw off.
So China has basically just told the U.S. to F off. Apparently, President Trump is waiting for a call back from President Xi to discuss the trade war and negotiate all that kind of stuff regarding the tariffs on China. And President Xi is refusing to call him back. And representatives from Beijing are basically saying that they are not going to succumb to a bully, which is how they are labeling President Trump's administration. Also going on to say that they've been around for 3,000 years compared to the U.S. is less than 250. that the U.S. only accounts for 2% of their GDP. They're the only economy in the world that can stand toe-to-toe with the U.S., and they will be just fine without us. And in addition to the response of refusing to call President Trump back, they also decided to hike their tariffs against the U.S. to 125% in response to the 145% the U.S. has put on them, making them basically the only country that does not have the 90-day reprieve that President Trump gave the rest of the world. President Trump will not reach out to China first, that China must reach out to him first. And China's like, no, we're not going to do that anyways. So China has basically just...
You know what gets me about this, Casey? Is that China seriously don't need the United States.
They don't. But we need them.
Yes, we do.
You know, and in terms of saying, you know, we're going to just move the manufacturing back here to the U.S. Well, the first thing is, it takes years to implement that kind of manufacturing. That's not something that you can do in a month or two.
Yeah.
So it takes several years. And with our economy tanking the way it is, and going to tank even further, companies are going to be reluctant to invest in big investments in the U.S. right now.
Yeah.
They're not going to see a return on their money.
Now, I have also heard that in addition to the tariff, that China and other companies are canceling orders.
Yes.
For the United States.
Yes. So I'm aware of several companies that said that all of their Canadian orders have been canceled for the rest of the year.
The rest of the year?
Yeah. Not you know, we want to reduce or suspend them for a moment. No, we canceling all the contracts for the rest of the year.
Wow.
So
that is amazing.
Yeah.
Now, I'll tell you, Trump is he's scared now because he's watching. Because I tell you, what China's doing, China's working with the other Asian company to get a coalition to say, hey, we can be stronger as a community, as a group.
Yeah.
And the United States looking at this. You know, because it says here, why Trump watching team, is that how you say his name?
No. That... Okay.
All right.
I don't speak Chinese, J-Rod.
That's right. Because he's having a Southeast Asian tour, which means he is meeting with other Asian companies, not companies, countries, so they can work together. All right. Now, Trump's still softening up and going, I don't blame China. For the reason that's right, for his air. You know, so I don't blame China.
He's desperate, boy.
Man, this dude is something else. So here we go.
I don't blame China. I don't blame Vietnam. I see their meeting today. Is that wonderful? That's a lovely meeting. Like trying to figure out how do we screw the United States of America.
Whoa, some choice words there from U.S. President Donald Trump, who is watching Xi Jinping and his tour of Southeast Asia very closely. This week, Xi is on a state visit of Vietnam, Malaysia, and Cambodia. He's out to position China as a stable partner, especially in comparison to the United States. Remember, Vietnam and Cambodia were among the nations hardest hit by Trump's reciprocal tariffs before the 90-day pause. So while they're rolling out the red carpet for Xi Jinping, they have to appease Donald Trump. And analysts say Trump's chaotic policies are drawing Southeast Asia even closer to China.
I don't blame China. I don't blame Vietnam.
Yeah, I blame you. That's exactly what I was agree with that. Because I blame you. Now, also, I'll tell you, if Vietnam, and China and other Asian companies get together, it's going to be a problem. Because I want you, I'm challenging you to listen, go to your closet tomorrow morning and look at all your clothes items and see what is the main country making those or producing those items. It is the Asian country.
Right.
Now, I can tell you right now, Trump, now I will say that China's not the only one screwing Trump. You know, a lot of people making deals with China. And I mean, they're making a lot of deals with China. And I'm okay with it.
Breaking news, Claudia Sheinbaum has just signed a historic agreement with Xi Jinping, and the world is in shock. Shein and Temu, the giants of Chinese e-commerce, are officially coming to Mexico. All of this happened just hours after former President Donald Trump imposed brutal 90% tariffs on products from both platforms, but Claudia Sheinbaum didn't sit idly by. She responded with a silent but explosive move. She signed a direct alliance with the Chinese government to establish full-scale operations of Shein and Temu on Mexican soil. And according to leaked documents this morning, the plan is already underway. There will be factories, logistics centers, and physical stores all over the country. This will not only boost the economy, it will create thousands of jobs, positioning Mexico as the new hub of global trade. But the most
That is amazing.
Yeah, it is. But, it's very predictable. And while this particular thing was self-inflicted by Donald Trump, really the American people are to blame. They knew this man was unstable. They knew he was a liar. They knew he was a failed businessman. But they voted for him anyway. They knew he was a criminal. Yeah. And but yet they still voted for him. And they knew that his policies made no sense.
That is true.
So, FAFO.
You're absolutely right, because I can tell you, I got a feeling after this trade war is over, I think that China's going to have America exactly where they want them. Now, I'm okay with some of that.
Yeah.
Right? Because even in our industry, this is Barbershop.talk, and I'm talking about the barbershop, we get a lot of hair from China.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm not surprised after this whole thing, you're going to see something like that. See?
Had
a love letter from North Vietnam. He wants me to come to his barbershop and work out a trade deal.
Don't worry. You're gonna be sitting by the phone. Like when you broke up with your girlfriend, you just hoping that she called, you're gonna look like this. I guarantee you. That's what it's gonna look like. It's when the president is waiting for a phone call. See, no, sorry, Mr. President.
Please call me and bail me out.
No.
Yeah.
We still reading your yearbook.
Lying to the people saying, we negotiating some things and we're about to settle this and that. He ain't talking to China. The China ain't interested in talking to him. He lied to the American people, the tariffs is coming down because we got something negotiated. He ain't got no negotiating. He ain't calling you.
He is not calling you at all. It is a shame. It's a shame. Now I know our time is getting away from it, so what I'm going to do is finish up our podcast by the Black History Month. It's not really Black History Month. It's about Black History, period.
Yeah.
And we're trying to make sure that our listeners are in the tune when it comes to our history. If you don't know our history, you don't know where you're going. If you don't know where you came from, you don't know where you're going. Now, this is very powerful and it applies to what's going on many years ago and what they're trying to apply today. Check this out, baby.
Education of a people. This was never just about school. It was about shaping minds to serve systems. From the very beginning, they built an education system that would keep us obedient, not liberated. They erased our libraries, burned our prophets, wrote themselves into the center of the story, and cast us as shadows. They didn't just hide the truth. They engineered ignorance on purpose. Because if we ever knew what we came from, we'd never settle for what they gave us. They taught us to worship what enslaved us. They rewrote our gods, repainted our saints, and told us our own ancestors were savages. They stripped our names, stole our languages, and replaced our spirituality with rituals designed to keep us on our knees, begging for mercy from the same system that broke us. They never wanted thinkers. They wanted workers. They wanted silence. They wanted us to forget. Because people who remember become dangerous. Why don't they teach us about Mansa Musa? Why is Egypt taught as European? Why are the Moors missing from the textbooks?
That was powerful.
Because once we start connecting the dots, we stop asking for a seat at the table and start building our own. This ain't education. It's programming. It's propaganda. And it's still happening. They underfund our schools, fill our curriculums with lies, push us through systems designed to fail us, then blame us for the outcome. But we're waking up. And when we reclaim our story, we reclaim our power. This is Unwritten Truths. Follow at Official Black Knowledge. Our app is dropping soon, and this time, we write the curriculum.
That is absolutely correct. Now, it's one of the things I want to point out, because I thought it was very serious when she said they don't want to develop thinkers.
No.
They want to program you.
Yeah.
And not only in our education, they have also put in place in society policies, laws, procedures to continue to hold you down.
Yeah, to limit our advance.
Yeah.
And it's in housing, jobs, education, prisons, legal system, financial opportunity, even the drug trade and the weapons, politics, erasing us from history. All of that is designed to hold us back.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I'm going to say a couple of things. If you think that your vote don't count, why do you think they're trying to stop you to vote? You know, so you need to think about that.
Right.
Now,
also, there's so much energy and effort into limiting our vote.
Let me tell you what they're doing right now to try to limit your education. Like they're telling, let's give it back to the states. No federal funds. See, federal funds was to level the playing field.
Yeah.
Because they have segregated certain communities of people of color in certain areas.
Yeah.
Right. And then they put in things in place in the system that prevent you from getting ahead, prevent you from getting the best job.
Yeah.
You know, they put those in place as well. So most of the time we was living in neighborhoods that is challenged financially, just didn't have the funds. But keep in mind that property taxes was supposed to fund your school.
Right.
So you purposely putting me in a neighborhood where we are financially challenged and saying, educate yourself with this minimum budget. They're doing it all the time.
And just recently in Indiana, they just passed a law that the new governor, Governor Frankenstein, signed, that is going to take public tax dollars away from public schools and give them to charter schools.
Right.
Now, here's the kicker. Charter schools are only in certain districts in the state of Indiana, and they're in the inner city areas that are populated by predominantly African American students.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Now, do you remember back in with the Great Depression, where a lot of people was eating in the soup line?
Right.
Okay. That was going to happen in the United States right now. Now, when that happened, I'm going to tell you the first two people in line, because it's going to touch everybody. That's right. That's the soup. Those are the first two people who's going to be the soup line, because they messing up everybody. They are messing up everybody. Right. So I'm going to go ahead.
I want to leave one final thought, J-Rod.
All right, go ahead and do that.
Just to show you how they are erasing us from history. The first black president of the United States, not Barack Obama.
No.
It wasn't Abraham Lincoln. It was before Abraham Lincoln. In fact, it was before George Washington. It was John Hanson. And if you don't believe me, look it up for yourself. That's a teaser for next week, because next week we're going to tell you about it.
I agree. Look it up before the podcast so we could talk about it, because he is absolutely correct. So with that being said, I think what we're going to try to do here is just go ahead and close out our podcast. Again, we'd like to thank our listeners for listening to us, and we would not be here if it wasn't for your support. Now, I will say one other thing. If you like our content, please feel free to like and subscribe. We would truly appreciate that. We are one of the fastest growing podcasts in Indianapolis.
I want to thank you for listening to Barbershop.talk podcast. Please tell your family, friends, and enemies about our podcast, Barbershop.talk, available on your favorite podcast platforms. Let's have peace in the streets. Be safe, be wise, and be loved. And we say, go mob!
I'm savage, money count on, cash on me, shawty blow my phone, that's corny, that's the no, I'm tryna hustle.